Weak, incompetent males. Welcome back to Book 5, the channel that helps you live a more holistic life. This is your host, Jay Is, and today we are going to continue our series on the black male image state of crisis. And we want to zone in today on the imagery of the weak, incompetent male being promoted in the media. This particular image is really hurtful to us in the real world. Many times people would look at entertainment, things in the media, as if they have no real world consequence. And I would like to challenge anyone who has that thought process to really look at what is being portrayed in the media and how your experience, especially you as a black man, your experience in the real world, and see how closely those things correlate, or how people may adjust their behavior when you're around, whether that's in a negative or a positive way. More than likely, is it's in a negative way, because a lot of these promoted images of us are detrimental to our collective well-being. It's really detrimental to our ability to build a foundation of men that can be respected as leaders. So today, the weak and incompetent male. I mean, we see this all the time, and one of the images that stick out to me more recently is from a film called Jingle Jangle. This film, I watched this film with my family. My children love this film, especially my daughter. My youngest daughter, she really loves this film. And to be honest, when watching the film, it is very entertaining, and it's a good film from a film perspective. However, when we start to look at the film and how its messaging, or how we as black men, black males, are being portrayed in the film, it really does us a disservice, which taints the film for me, and why I couldn't recommend any young man sitting down in front of this film and being influenced by it. More particularly, there's a character on there. Believe the character name is Edison, and he's played by a young man. And in this film, this Edison character, he just can't get it together. He is fearful. He's weak in so many different ways. He's reclusive. He does not have any. He lacks confidence. He he needs the support and or the courage to be fed to him by the lead protagonist, which is a young lady. He is fearful of the outside world. I mean, it's terrible when you start watching the movie. Everything that he accomplishes, or nearly everything that he accomplishes, comes by way of him uh, being crutched in leaning on the protagonist, which is the female. She is portrayed as being, being capable. And in essence, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you have a male character, uh, which is her counterpart, being portrayed as the exact opposite, now we have a problem. So when we sit our young men down in front of these films, and they're already in a world that is telling them in so many ways that they are inadequate, this just exacerbates the damage that's being caused. It's really one of those things where it's a feel good movie, and you could really miss it if you're not paying attention. But this character, um you know, he is around, and he's treated more as a nuisance, especially in the beginning of the film. Of course, the characters develop an affinity for him, but he's considered a nuisance in the film. And when you really look at it, his character development from the beginning of the film to the end of the film isn't it isn't major at all. They he's really the same guy that he was when the movie started. Usually when you see characters in movies, they have a growth arc, right? They start in one place and then they end up in another place, having learned so much about themselves through whatever trial and tribulation that they were facing. This character, he did have some growth, but by the end of the movie, he isn't any more confident. He isn't any more capable from a leadership perspective or influential perspective. So he really remained the same, and he was still insulated by that group that gave him a crutch in the beginning. Moreover, on that particular film, all I mean, it was a majority black cast, but the main black males in the movie, the main antagonist, he was a thief, a swindler. He could not get his ideas off the ground himself, and so he chose to steal them. But as far as a movie goes, I guess you need an antagonist somewhere along the line, and that could have been played by any race. And then you have our supporting actor. I forget his name in the show, but he's played by Forrest Whitaker. He is the protagonist's grandfather, and he has all given up on life. He feels defeated. He has wasted ample just a tremendous amount of years of his life. He is not the best father, as he has isolated himself from his daughter. His granddaughter had to come back and initiate and really beg for a bridge back to his legacy. So you have this theme of, once again, the black man abandoning his legacy because of personal issues. I mean, you know it's horrible when you look at the film. It's horrible. It's an entertaining film with a feel good message. There are great actors in it. So they put the film together well, but when you start to take a deeper look behind the curtain, it's poison. It's absolutely poison. Another movie that comes to mind is the Black Panther. Oh man, the Black Panther. It's pretty old now, but Chadwick Boseman, his portrayal of the Black Panther. Man, what a weak character. What if and to be a superhero, to be classified in the superhero category. Oh man, they show so much weakness in that character throughout that film. It was disgusting. It makes me personally, I don't like the film. It makes it disgusting to watch, right? Of course it's action packed, it's Marvel, it's all of these, effects and blah blah blah. But the way they treat this guy in this Black Panther in this movie, with these cat claws, like he's scratching something, like it's crazy. You know, all his decisions are really being made from uh, the women that surround him, his mother, his wife or love interest, the elite guards. I forget their names. He's really being influenced by all the women around him, and they just use him to further their own agendas in the movie. And of course, he is at odds against every male around him. He has a problem with his dead father, so he has to, try to find a way to repair that relationship. He has a problem with Killmonger, who was done an injustice by his father and his people. He has, a problem with I forget the CIA agent's name, but then he now when you want to bring race into it, he starts to have a problem with him, but then he submits to him, and it's funny because he submits to this man in the CIA who is really an extension of power for the women that are around him. He's also in contention with the mountain man people, that the dudes, the gorilla dudes. I forgot their name. He's at odds with his best friend, who decided that he wanted to support Killmonger's cause. So he's at odds with almost every male around him, but somehow these women who are really prying control out of his fingers and undermining everything that he wants to do, he has no problem whatsoever with them doing that. When you, again, I'm just kind of going off the top here, but man, when you look at that movie, it's disgusting. And you got this, and to be honest with you, man, the costume, even the costume is corny, and the way they just jumping around like little feline cats and all that, man, it's not good at all. These movies really give the impression, they send the impression out there that the black man is weak and incompetent, and it really hurts us in our in our business lives. It hurts us in our personal lives, in our relationships, because the world starts to have an idea that if you need something done, if you need someone to pull it off, if you need somebody in clutch time, you can't you cannot look to the black male to do it. He will fail. He will not have what it takes. He will. So, with that being said, when you're out here in the real world, you are last on the list of a person to be sourced to handle anything significant. And I don't have to sit here and run down a whole host of things for you. You can just look into politics. You can look in any industry, and you can see the lack of our influence in leadership. And a lot of that, of course, is red tape, bureaucracies, political things, social things that we have to hurdle. However, these portrayals of us in the media is not helping us one bit. And when we start to try to develop these relationships, whether it is in our personal lives, our romantic lives, or our business lives, we are hindered by that, whether we understand it or not, because the same people that you're talking to and trying to collaborate with on different things, they are watching this imagery and they are being affected by it. They may not tell you that, you may not feel like that is the case or think that is the case, but it is definitely the case. If media was not influential on our thoughts, they would not have it out here. Um, when you move from the movies and you go into the Netflix series, another thing, a lot of the stuff I watch, my children are watching this stuff. They have a show called Family Reunion. And this show is a family who is in transition of sorts. They have moved. The father was some type of professional athlete, and I guess his career ended, and he's now you know, thinking about rearranging his family's life. And so, what does this professional athlete do to get his family back on track? He moves back in with his parents. And when he moves back in with his parents, it is clear to see that his mother and his wife truly run his life, and he's just a big goofball. When you watch the show, he's a goofball. He's a clown, and they don't show any sort of real respect for his leadership and decision making. They show love to him, as long as he's being obedient and placating to whatever it is that they want. But I mean, it even translates to his children. His children, his daughter, his sons. They all project this. The stronger image is his father. The father in the show has more of a respect from these individuals, but even in that, his mother always trumps his father in the show when it comes down to where the family direction is going. And I'm just thinking, man, you go off, you be a professional athlete, you make millions and millions of dollars, you decide to go back to your mother's house as some big overgrown mama's boy, and subservient to your wife and your mother. And your children. It's really, it's disgusting. When you watch that show, it is disgusting. And of course, they're trying to do comedy and some type of um, modern day black family uh, crap, where they of course are interjecting church and the regular typical stereotypical black nonsense. But one of those things is definitely the weak incompetent male. And it really is, man. It's terrible. It is terrible. I encourage you, well, I don't encourage you to watch this for entertainment values, but check those shows out. Check out Jingle Jangle. Check out, rewatch the Black Panther, because I know you probably watched it. You got caught up in all of the action, and all of the real stuff slipped by you. And then check out that family reunion show. And then you got people in the real world like Will Smith, who has recently ran around making an ass of himself behind his family and his wife, and it's some of the personal decisions that he has been making, which makes him look weak and out of control of his household. So it is, man. It's one of those things that that we really have to fight against as real world individuals. We have to carry ourselves in a way that we put our competence at the forefront, that we show that we are strong, that we are physically strong, emotionally strong, spiritually strong, mentally strong, financially strong, and and show our strength, not in an overtly aggressive way, but when people show that doubt, or they want to undermine that, that we are assertive in showing that, hey, no, you, that's the wrong idea. You have the wrong idea, right? Um, and if we are not strong in some of these spaces, like anything else, you work on it and you get stronger in these spaces. And we really have to have a rethink. Our mind has to, we have to rethink ourselves, as the scriptures say, right? We have to rethink ourselves and become new creatures, not just new creatures, in the spirit, but a lot of these things where we consume this content, and we co-sign some of this stuff. We have to rethink what we're co-signing and what we're supporting and what we're putting our money to, and what we're allowing to enter into our spirit, right? We really got to check that. So but well, with that being said, I forgot to pull up our sponsor scripture of the day, but I'm sure that I can get one on the fly here. Just give me a second, uh, because yeah, it comes down to uh, uh, guarding what goes in your brain and how it manifests in your brain, because you will subconsciously start to you will subconsciously start to act these things out. You will subconsciously start to accept these things in your life as normal, and you start walking in a mode of operation where you are being undermined, and you're getting comfortable being the weak and competent male uh, amongst a planet of people who are consistently outperforming you. And that brings us to our sponsored scripture of the day, and that is going to be Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. Proverbs 4 and 23. You have to be aware of what's going inside of your mind and in the mind of other people, so you know how to um, interact appropriately with it. And that's all I have for you today on Book 5, the channel that helps you live a holistic life. This is your host, Jay Is, and I'll catch you next time in the book club.